Wow. Just look at all these empty shells of buildings that line the roads here. Haven't seen something like this since China. Everyone has heard of the war between Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Palestine. But there have been even bigger conflicts going on at the same time, unnoticed by the world. The biggest of all was the Tigray war in Ethiopia, where almost 1 million people may have died in the last 2 years. This war was between the Tigray province and the government of Ethiopia, assisted by Eritrea, the neighboring country. No one paid any attention to it. No one cared. When I decided to visit Tigray, I didn't even know the full details of the war. I went because it's actually a beautiful region where they say the Ark of the Covenant is held. You know, the thing with the 10 Commandments. I took a flight from Addis Ababa, where for the second time, Ethiopian Airlines misplaced my luggage. This happens like every day? Yeah. Every day. And Ethiopian Airlines, they don't send the bag to the hotel or anything. I went to the biggest restaurant in town and talked to people. This is the rest of my journey. Welcome to the Tigray region in northern Ethiopia. A place that up until very recently was a large war zone. Nowadays, the city is said to be a den of thieves, bandits. You have to watch yourself walking around. I don't know what to believe. That's why I'm here. We're about to find out together. I believe I am the only foreign tourist in this entire region at the moment. Josie didn't even want to join for this one. They didn't finish the buildings.
I think it's Chinese engineers are gonna work this.
Oh, the Chinese are gonna come and finish.
Ah.
Oh, okay. So you can see behind me right here, you have some unfinished buildings. And not just one, 2, 3. It's not that these were used for like sniper positions or anything like that. It's that this region used to actually be pretty prosperous before the war. These buildings were stopped mid-construction. So there you have it. The Chinese are going to come in and finish the buildings. Go, you got to get them. Get them, get your guadagna. So what I'm walking through right now is the biggest city in the Tigray region. It's called Mekelle. It's actually a much bigger city than I was imagining. It's like 500,000 people or something like that. Not something you typically see walking through your city center. Here we have the Seaman Bed and Breakfast. I missed out on staying there last night. All right, so over here, we got a place called Belly Fashion. Interesting name for a clothing shop. And then over there, we've got a cafe called the IQ Corner. They're killing me with these names out here. And I have chipsa with egg. Yeah. And then also, what is the IQ specialty? Yeah, this one. What is it? Minnow.
Honey flavor.
Honey flavor?
And ginger.
And ginger? Okay. Does it make you smarter? Okay. And I take honey. Just ordered a dish that I've never heard of to see what it's like. And I ordered an IQ specialty because I don't know. I need to raise mine. I think it's pretty obvious. Alright, that was pretty good. That was about $2 at the black market exchange rate. Cool. And over here across the street, you have the former president of Ethiopia, Mr. I know his last name, Zealous. The important thing about him, and the reason why they're showing a president that left office in 2012, or died in office, is because he was Tigrayan. He was from Tigray. And Ethiopia, like many countries in Africa, has some issues with tribal conflict. This place doesn't actually seem that bad. A little bit under construction, but, you know, way more developed than I was expecting. Now, I've actually come to Tigray for a very specific reason. Nowadays, this region is sadly more known for the war that took place. But there's a very interesting place about 2 hours north of here. There's a town called Axum, and supposedly there's a church that contains the Ark of the Covenant, and it's guarded by a team of virgins. You heard that right. They have to be virgins to guard the church. Apparently no one's ever gone to see this before, at least on YouTube, so let's go check it out. I see that here in Tigray they use tuk-tuks. Big fan of tuk-tuks. Let's grab one of those, take a little tour around the city, see what we can find.
Because he's afraid the people.
So during the war on this street it was completely empty.
He's empty. So much afraid. So how is the flight?
It's good that you speak some English, because not many people in Tigray speak English.
Yeah, little.
Little, yeah, that's all Nishnay. We have here the Tigray Martyrs Memorial Monument Center. I feel like the sign could use a little touch-up, but it's the biggest monument in Mekelle. I go see?
There's a conference.
Conference?
Yeah. So we're gonna have
It's my one day in Mekelle. Can I see? I take a picture?
فوتنا من علي دليل له. نعم تجرشي معك على معك.
Photo check it yellow.
نعم تجرشي على معك.
This monument is a monument to the Ethiopian Civil War. Where we last left off, we were talking about the last king of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie. Turns out he was murdered by communists, and then a new regime took over, the Derg. The Tigrays, they started the uprising that eventually overthrew the communist regime and brought Ethiopia back to normalcy.
سلامات.
Salam. Okay.
This was Marta. ضمين بايبلن لبا. Zawar.
Yeah.
In Dirk. This was the legend of
Okay.
Tigrayan people.
I didn't know there's more people here.
This was.
You are living here?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Beit? Okay.
Yeah. He lived.
We're stopping at the gas station.
Okay.
I am apparently the first visitor at the former palace of Johannes. It's kind of cool. During the war, did anyone come here? Yes. During the war, was this place attacked?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
There was a big damage.
Government.
Stand? Already broken.
So during the war, they just came in, took this chair, and then threw it
Yeah, they throw it. Yeah.
to be disrespectful?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Come on here.
When the adults act like children.
War instruments, especially Emperor Johannes's sword.
Oh, they stole the weapons.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So they just like would attack the door?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
This was his salon.
So the whole palace is kind of overgrown at the moment. Nobody's been here for over 2 years. So I've unfortunately been facing some linguistic challenges here in Tigray, which is not something I say very often. There's a lot of different languages in Ethiopia. The language here is called Tigrayan. It's from the same language family as Arabic. They have all the same sounds like kof and ein and like, you know, all those sounds you have to choke yourself to make. Unfortunately, I don't really speak that language. I know maybe 3 words. Thankfully, last night I made some friends. They're gonna join me on my trip over to Axum. Okay. All right, sit down. This is Mercy. Yeah, and Cabran. It's like LeBron, but Cabran. Now we're gonna go to Axum and find some virgins, right? That's man. How can you refuse a mission like that? You just see destroyed vehicles like this all along the side of the road as we're driving through the Tigray region. And you can also see a bunch of cows. Okay. Bye. See you later. Why did we give him money? For the church. Okay. Wow. So this beautiful region right here, that literally looks like Switzerland. This right here was the site of a massive battle between the TDF, the Tigrayan Defense Forces, and the Ethiopian government, the Eritrean government, and also the Amharas, the place that we're just in Lalibela. What's it called? Okay.
There has been undeniable war in Itla and Shatagun, and TDF defeated them.
So this is Yichala. The TDF, they would have been stationed right up there, and then the Ethiopian government tried to desperately come up these roads. That was back in 2021. Back then, Tigray was doing so well that there was a legitimate fear that they were going to go all the way to Addis Ababa and conquer Ethiopia and create like an entirely new government. The Ethiopian government made a deal with the Eritrean government for them to come and send forces. Eritrea is the country just next to here, just over the border from Tigray and Ethiopia. Crazy times. But man, it's really a shame. This place is really beautiful. Ethiopia, seriously. You guys have a beautiful country here. You gotta stop fighting. Hey, come in. Yeah. Tigray. So, Kebran, right? Kebe. So Kebe was in the TDF fighting against, I guess, the Ethiopian government. What was that like? How long? What did you do when you were in the TDF?
Mechanic and driving the car.
You were driving the car.
Yeah.
So it was during the war. Was it everyone in Tigray was fighting? Like young, old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old. Yeah. Why does it say no guns on that car? It's what? Oh, okay. So that car is an NGO car.
ID card.
You need ID cards?
Yeah.
Okay.
باسبورت السي
Tigrayan? Okay, good. So that was a Tigray checkpoint. The Tigray security checkpoint?
Yeah.
Like TDF?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So those were like local Tigrayan militias that were doing a security checkpoint. Ethiopian politics are extremely complicated, and I'm not going to try to explain them here because it gives you a headache. But to simplify things, this war that started in 2020 was basically because the Tigray region, historically being a region with a lot of influence in Ethiopia, they controlled the government effectively up until 2018. They thought that the Ethiopian government was being unfair. Maybe they were. And in response, the Tigray region launched their own defense force to take control of the region. Hey, good morning. We made it to Axum, the city that holds the church with the Ark of the Covenant. It is also the original capital of the Ethiopian Empire. But beyond that, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm pretty damn tired at this moment. Apparently it's a thing in Ethiopia for people to just, I don't know, play music right outside your window until 3 a.m. and keep you awake, because that's what happened to me. And I'm a pretty sensitive sleeper, so I think I got maybe 1 hour of sleep last night. Anyway, let's go out and explore Axum.
He said welcome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, can you do?
He says thank you because we have a peace now.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice to see you also. White people to come and visit tourists like
Temesgen. Okay, yeah, can you do? Salam. Can you do? Alright, so we're here in the home of the quote-unquote virgins, and turns out what they meant by that was it's the home of the monks and nuns. Ethiopia. They have a way of putting things sometimes. Salam. Oh.
Come here.
Yeah.
Nato.
Okay, so this is your home.
He was a priest and he was having a family with his wife. So when his wife is died, then he said, just I should give up. He become a monk.
Oh.
Till now, he's giving the service here as a monk.
At what age?
معاذ እንዳለኹም ኢኹም ከሽነርኩም ወደ ዕድሜ እንዳለኹ ወደ ዕድሜ ደይ 1983, sorry. 1983, he became a monk.
3 years before I was born.
Yeah, okay. ሰለስተ ዓመት ቅድመ ኣነ ምውላድ ኢኹም መንክስኩም ይዝዘብ
Kind of sleepwalking through this video right now.
The blue one or the green?
Yeah.
That's what the ark is.
Okay.
Nobody cannot go inside. Only the monk, and there is also assistant.
That building right there is where the ark is.
Can you see the green window? The green.
Can I walk up to the? Can I walk up the stairs? No.
Out of here.
Salam.
From here you can take a picture.
Oh, from here. I can't go further. Supposedly, the Ark of the Covenant is stored in that building over there behind me. But to see it, you have to be a specially chosen virgin. A specially chosen one. One that was chosen by God. May have to go my entire life without seeing the covenant. If you're a virgin and you just come here, can you see the Ark of the Covenant?
Not possible.
No.
Only the one who's been selected by the monk who was the guardian.
Oh.
You understand me? A lot of monks are virgin, but
Yeah.
they don't allow them to be the guardian of the ark.
Oh, okay. So we're walking now on the streets of Axum. Axum used to be a very popular tourist destination in Ethiopia, but it was a focal point of the recent war between Tigray and the Ethiopian government. Salam. These are like Tigray dresses. Okay. Signs of war. They attacked?
They broken the walls. We just maintain now.
Oh.
See the sun also.
Yeah. Oh, this was the door. Okay, and they shot it. Okay. Oh. Another bullet hole here. So you're trying to hide all the bullets. Oh, they fixed the glass. They stole everything from the store. I'm sorry, Yakarta. Good luck. You can see a tent here from the UNHCR. Conflict created a lot of refugees in the region. And this is one of the gathering points in Tigray. The refugees?
Yeah.
From where? Gansha. The Amharas and the Eritreans attacked. Yakarta.
Thank you, ma'am.
This from New Year's?
Huh?
Is this the stuff they throw for the New Year's? On New Year's Day in Ethiopia, which is not the same as your New Year's Day. They just take grasses like this, throw it all over the floor. It's kind of nice, but you gotta clean it up afterward. So we're walking now through the ruins of the Axumite Empire. The Axumites were a very powerful state. They were almost like the Roman Empire of Africa. They conquered territory all the way into Yemen in the Middle East. And you could tell they were respected, even by the Europeans, because in Europe, the Romans and everyone else used to refer to all of Africa as Ethiopia. And it was this state that eventually took the name. Interestingly, this obelisk right behind me was actually taken by Italy in the 1930s during World War II, and they brought it back. After some negotiations, Italy finally returned the obelisk to Ethiopia in 2005, more than 50 years later. And thus, most Ethiopians will consider this place, Axum, to be the cradle of Ethiopian civilization, the beginning of the Ethiopian state, right here in the northern Ethiopian highlands up in Tigray. You know, it's kind of stupid. I remember just recently, there was this big controversy about that series produced by Will Smith's wife about Cleopatra, and everybody was arguing, like, was she black, was she white? Who cares? Why don't they make a series about the Axumite Empire? Hollywood's stupid, man. Gymnast of Ethiopia.
So now we're going to the museum. It's not allowed to take pictures.
So these were coins of the Axumites, and then the Eritreans. Not supposed to film in here, but the recent war between Tigray, the Ethiopian government, and Eritrea reached even the museum. Stole some ancient coins. Tell him I want to show the world what happened.
Only this, yeah.
Oh.
The Eritrean troops, they have been taking lots of coins here. Axumite coins, gold coins.
Oh, man. Another notable thing about this time period is that during the Axumite Empire, the Gez script was invented. That's the script that you see everywhere in Ethiopia. And Ethiopia is the only country in Africa that uses its own script. It's kind of an amazing thing. So here you have all the different flags. You got Switzerland, America, but the biggest flag is Tigray. Ethiopia are kind of scratched out over there. I see that.
Sure.
As you can see here, just steps from the Axumite ruins, you have the Ethiopian version of a boarded up house. These must have been abandoned during the war. Almost everyone here lost someone during that conflict for 2 years. Axum Airport?
Yeah.
Airport, okay. Yeah. So over here, just behind me, is the old airport of Axum. What's kind of funny is, when I was researching ways to fly into Tigray, because of the province, I originally wanted to fly directly here to Axum, because it has lots of history and everything like that. Little did I know, the airport in Axum had been destroyed over the past 2 years. Hopefully it'll be back soon. So just behind me, we have lots of refugee tents set up by the UN. Being that it was a conflict that went on for 2 years, people from all over the provinces lost their houses, lost their livelihoods, and they've gathered in this spot. Hi, salam. This is Beitak? Beit? Oh, okay.
Right from their parents.
Oh, they don't have their parents.
Yeah.
So they're orphans. Hey, can you tell them to like share it?
Yeah.
For everyone, okay? Everyone.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
يدخلون Oxford Business and Technology College.
So we're now in the town of Adwa, which, to be honest, doesn't look that different from any other town in Ethiopia, or in Africa for that matter. But as a matter of fact, I never get tired of seeing donkeys out here. As a matter of fact, this town, this place, was the site of one of the most important battles in the history of Africa. This grave behind me marks the Battle of Adwa. It took place in 1896. Another war that took place on Ethiopian soil. But that was a very different war. That was a war between Ethiopia and Italy. And unlike almost every other conflict in Africa, this time, the Africans won. Wow. So even the people here don't know about the incredible battle that happened there. Let me tell you about it. A little context. In the 1890s, colonialism was hitting its peak. Europe had the conference at Berlin. They had decided to carve up the entire continent amongst themselves. And Italy, kind of like that one uncle that finally got into cryptocurrency a few years late, Italy wanted to join the party. The Italians had already created a colony in Libya along the Mediterranean, and also they conquered the coast along the Red Sea, which later became Eritrea. And that's the reason why Eritrea is a separate country today. But the big prize was Ethiopia, and Italy knew that. Ethiopia was the strongest state in Africa. They were organized. And they also had, at that time, one of the greatest kings in the history of Ethiopia, Menelik II, who unified all of Ethiopia. And so, when the Italians invaded, and they streamed over these hills behind me, Menelik II had marched his army all the way up here from Addis Ababa, a distance that was roughly equivalent to Napoleon marching across Europe to go attack Russia. Menelik's forces surprised and outmaneuvered the Italians, and although they lost many soldiers, ultimately they won the battle. And they maintained the independence of Ethiopia, the only country in Africa to stay independent. Adwa. Ethiopia, Italy. Yeah. We came Axum. Axum. Yeah. Makale. Here comes the rain. So let me do this outro real quick, because I think this is the best place to do an outro for this video, and maybe this entire series about Ethiopia. The Battle of Adwa shows what Ethiopia is capable of when they unite together. When you stop being Oromos, Amharas, Tigrayans, and you start being Ethiopians. And that's important. Ethiopia, you gotta remember, you're an inspiration for the entire continent. Many countries around Africa adopted the colors of your flag. You inspired an entire religion in Jamaica. The African Union is here. Ethiopia, you're an inspiration. You gotta remember that. You gotta stop fighting amongst yourselves. Come here. Come here. So Ethiopia, I wish you all the best. And I wish you peace. Because the sky is the limit once you have that. I'll see you. Not sure where, but somewhere else. Probably somewhere else in Africa. When it rains in Ethiopia, it rains like this. It's like the apocalypse out there.